G'day, Aussie Arcanist here, Wizardly Wanderer, Multiverse Magus, frequent flyer in the astral plane, and a true blue denizen of Down Under. I make videos about all things arcane, archaic, and artifactual. I will impart to you the lore, legends, and lessons from countless expeditions across the many worlds. Maybe you want to know how to fight a kraken from the deep, perhaps thwart the voice of a Bene Gesserit, or, as the case may be for this video, surviving an encounter with the regenerate degenerate, the Troll. No worries, this Antipodean Archwizard is here to help. And here we are. You've found yourself in an interesting corner of our collective multiverse, known as the Forgotten Realms, designated by some technically minded realm wanderers as D&D FR5E, one of the nearest magically malleable multiverse manifolds. And it just so happens that it's a common destination for those that travel the multiverse. If you're very lucky, you'll find yourself on some version of the world known as Toril, where our subject, the voraciously villainous troll, is quite common. So let's pop the billy on, get your Tim Tams out, and have a sit, because we're going to get into it. I have heard some that want to believe trolls are giant kin, but I very much doubt that's true. I can't tell you with certainty how the first baby troll was made, but I can tell you there was probably beer goggles involved. However they came to be, and whatever their pedigree, what they lack in true kinship with giants they certainly make up for with a ton of variety. There are as many types of trolls as there are descriptive nouns. Ice, fire, cave, sparkle, and of course internet. The potential varieties go on and on. You name a place or a condition and some blighter of a troll will have claimed it as a descriptor, and you know it'll only be because it lives near it or maybe it's made out of it. God save us if we ever come across a sewer or a garbage troll. They already smell atrocious, and I don't want to think about how much worse it could possibly get. It'd be difficult for me to think of a non-demon species more ravenous beyond rational self-control. Have you ever got a serious attack of the munchies? Imagine that times 1,000. They'll attack and feed on anything and everything they can get their bloody hands on, and I do mean bloody. Meat is everything to a troll. Beef, fish, bird, or humanoid. Their food pyramid is more of a slab, shaped like a steak. And let me tell you, they are gluttons to their very core. It not only affects their appetite, but every aspect of their lives. They want all the food they can get and as much treasure as they can hoard. Unsurprisingly, they are also gluttons for punishment, as they seem to have no fear about having a blue with anything. No matter the odds, no matter the challenger, they'll want to have a scrap. And a troll will always engage. It's driven by its evil nature and insatiable desire to consume. And with trolls inhabiting every region, they are a constant threat to communities, which is why it is very common for smaller settlements to post jobs and bounties for eager young adventurers to make a name for themselves. Fighting a troll in your early career as an adventurer is something of a rite of passage, and a great test of skill and courage. And I am sorry to say, more than a few audacious adventurers succumb to the aberrant appetites of trolls. And you're not here to root spiders, so here's a rundown of what you'll be dealing with. On average, trolls will stand around 270 centimeters tall, and will weigh just shy of half a ton. These big beasties have skin colorings of mossy green or off grey. Green, black, and dark grey hair is also common. They have a reputation for coming in many odd varieties, largely owing to their slightly mutagenic nature, which is a likely consequence of the primary feature of these murderous malignant misanthropes, their regeneration factor. An innate ability of trolls that would give Wolverine a run for his money. Nah, that's the wrong one, mate. True Blue. Now that's a singing, dancing Aussie legend. Anyway, this regen ability makes standard attacks highly problematic, and it's the primary reason you may see trolls with strange mutations, like extra appendages, two heads, or aberrant traits of elemental, fey, or fell origins. Trolls are what they eat. Be wary of these mutations, and carefully observe a troll before engagement if you can. You never know what strange strengths it may have accumulated, but more importantly, it may have weaknesses you can better exploit by wise assessment of its nature. Insightful and intelligent adventurers should always take the time to investigate its arcane affectations and physiological factors. You should always attempt to size up a troll before a full engagement. Trolls have hunched and misshapen bodies. Their long, gangly arms touch the ground as they lumber about. Though they seem unwieldy, they are actually fairly agile and can climb extremely well. They have large olfactory cavities that can detect odors better than a hungry dingo at a kindergarten, but they seem to have traded that excellent smell sensitivity for terrible hearing and poor vision in bright environments. With their insatiable appetites for food and loot, you'll never see more than a few trolls together by choice. The competition for resources ensures that troll dens will never have more than a dozen members, more often than not comprised of a family grouping. Troll societies are as rare as hen's teeth across the multiverse, so without any structure beyond family bonds, they are easily exploited. Hags, orcs, and giantkin will often use them as mercenaries, paid with meat and plunder. Though without a strong hand and constant incentives, trolls will quickly break ranks and simply wander off to satisfy their hunger. A troll's lair is pretty much the most stability they'll ever have, so let's talk about where they live. Being highly adaptive, you'll typically find trolls everywhere across the worlds they inhabit, preferring denser forests, vibrant swamps, and even mountain ranges, where they eventually adapted, and not only became the massive mountain troll variety, but those that lived well above the snowline eventually became the ice and snow trolls. Should you ever venture below the mountains, you will likely encounter trolls in subterranean areas, especially the Underdark. Expect to see cave or rock varieties, but be prepared for some trolls to have features of fiends or fell beings. The trolls of the Underdark in particular may have taken on the traits of the dark creatures that they hunt down there. At this point in my travels, I don't think I'll ever be surprised by any new variety of troll adaptation. But as long as there are plentiful hunting grounds, a troll can and will live anywhere. They will try to make lairs in caves and dungeons, but they can build a den in any easily protected space. Fallen and rotted tree hovels, old ruins, and forgotten outposts. It wouldn't be unusual to see a nest-like pile of debris out in the open, especially if a troll had to make do in an environment like the shores of a lake or swamp. When scouting out the location of any potential troll lairs, understand that you'll smell it way before you see it. When you get a whiff of that unmistakable pong, you'll never forget it. Death mixed with sewage and trash. Adventurers who rummage around in a troll's den are certainly hardier than me. If you are going to go in, just remember that the larger dens are usually inhabited by a family clan, led by a matriarch known as a trollop. She's always a big Sheila. Troll females are bigger and stronger than the males, and they often practice shamanistic magic. There are many known cases of trollops using their own guts to perform augur spells for divination signs and portents. Just remember they have plenty of raw material for those spells because their guts just regenerate. If you're thinking about taking on a big lair, just remember that you should take the trollop out first. She has the double whammy of being the biggest and the strongest. And on that note, it's probably a good idea that we talk about taking a troll down, or at least surviving that encounter. Let's start with the most important thing you need to know. It's already been said, but I can't stress it enough. Trolls can regenerate, and by crikey can they do it fast. The only way you can ever hope to defeat a troll is with fire or acid. Probably both if you want the rigorously regrowing parts of the troll to stay damaged. It's the only way to keep the healing factor suppressed. If at all possible, bring a wizard. Or at the very least, grab a few pots of oil and a flint. If there's any possible way to bring the flames, you gotta do it. And artificers and high-tech adventurers should be happy as a dog with two tails. Get out your flamethrowers and go bonkers. Or better yet, use a friggin' laser mate. That'll sort 'em, no worries. But do remember those mutations. Some of these tricky trolls are trendsetters, having all sorts of dodgy derivations. Flamin' trolls, fire trolls for example, are by all accounts as fearsome to fight as a dragon. If your adventuring party came ready to throw a troll on a Barbie, think again. Fire trolls are obviously immune to all forms of fire damage, and you're probably thinking, but Ossiarchinus, cold beats fire, right? Struth, you bloody hope so, but cold buffed attacks will only deal double the damage. And it's hard yakka wailing on a fire troll for long enough to finally overwhelm its healing factor. Add to that, a fire troll needs to be kept away from any heat at all costs, especially magma, as the blistering blighter will recover up to 3 times quicker submerged in that searing stuff. You will need to overload it with damage, from not only cold but electrical sources if you've got it. Bring the lightning and don't spare the hail. Trolls are not commonly known to use weapons, but will pick up a branch for a makeshift club, and they will use a large stone or heavy log as a ranged projectile. Therefore, be aware when approaching suspected troll territories. They will open with a ranged attack and close rapidly to follow up with a furious frenzy of fang and claw. Overall, direct confrontation should be avoided. You'll want to use the troll's gluttonous flaws against it, set a trap with a pile of juicy meat, or send your sneakiest mate into its lair and pull a precious, then scarper like a rat up a drain pipe. Your tormented troll target will be as mad as a cut snake, and more than eager to track the heisted horde straight into your well-laid trap. My most common tactic is setting up an acid pit with a fireball chaser. I don't know how you'll decide to do it, but whatever happens, as soon as it all kicks off, keep the damage on, however you can, and pretty soon you'll have yourself a toasted troll. I will warn you to watch the weather. Might be best to rethink a troll takedown if it's raining. But if you don't have a choice, try to use something like magical flame, napalm, or Greek fire, so it can't be doused. And that will certainly help if the troll decides to run into a nearby body of water. But if your plans become a fizzer from the onset of a drizzle, you need to take stock, swallow your pride, and like any encounter that's gone sideways, run like buggery! Come on, mate, it's not worth dying over. Live to fight another day. There may be a large variety of trolls, but most will die from ample application of fire, acid, and diligent damage delivery. When in doubt, scout it out. And use your noggin so you don't take a flogging from the freakier mutations that may be lurking about. At the end of the day, you may be wondering why any fool would fight a troll. Well, other than protecting level 0s for rep and coin, you may want to tackle a troll for its bits and pieces. Troll blood is viscously vile, but you can snag some and you'd be onto a winner. Troll blood is worth a good sized bag of gold, because purveyors of potions and alchemists with acumen need that clotting claret for antidotes and healing potions. Ah, I bet you didn't know that some of those soothing swills you scull had some festive fixings flowing in that fluid. Look, I'm not trying to make you chunder, but it's best not to think about it. She'll be right, mate. To conclude, if you find yourself fighting a troll, I find the whole shebang goes easier if you remember the 3 T's. Trap, tank, and torch. Trap that you'll want to set, tank of fuel or acid that you'll want to bring along, and torch to light that sucker up. Unless the targeted troll has some strange mutations, you can't go wrong. I want to hear about your best and worst encounters with trolls. Did anything crazy happen, and how did you deal with the bastards? Let me know all about it in the comments. It would be bloody amazing to make more content while I travel the multiverse. So if you want to see more, like this video, and please consider subscribing. I wish happiness and safe travels to you and yours from me and mine. This has been Aussie Arcanist. Hooroo!